Guys, welcome back to a brand new Screen Team. I'm excited, super excited, because I have a brand new member of the Screen Team. He's sitting right next to me. Ladies and gentlemen of the Screen Team, Mr. David Carroll. How are you today, sir?
I am great.
Good to see you. For those who don't know, you are a Poplar Bluffian. Have you been a Poplar Bluffian for life? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in the Highway Patrol family. My dad was stationed primarily in Troop A, which is out of Lee Summit. I went to college, got my degree in criminal justice and photography, got on with the Highway Patrol, and in time was eventually transferred here. I started off in Troop H, which is out of St. Joe, and then I was transferred down here.
So you grew up kind of in the Kansas City area,
basically,
right?
Yes.
All right.
Why I'm such a big Royal and Chiefs fan.
So it's all making sense right now. It's all making sense. So you have a big role in the community here in Poplar Bluff. You do a lot of stuff with the stage company of Poplar Bluff. And how long have you been with them?
Oh my goodness. My gosh, it's been several years. My first show with the stage company was Our Town, and my daughter and I played Doc Gibbs, and she played Rebecca Gibbs, and it just sprung from there. In fact, when I first showed up to be to help my daughter audition, I had no intentions of being involved.
Yeah.
Jerry Dahl was the director, and he didn't have enough people to read opposite other people, so he just asked me if I would read some other lines, and I should have smelled a rat, but apparently I didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, I ended up being cast as Doc Gibbs, and from there on I've been in oh my goodness, the Sunshine Boys. 1776 was my only lead to date.
And you were John Adams?
I played John Adams.
Man, look at this guy. I love it. Sit down, John.
I was Snoopy in Your Good Man Charlie
Were you
Brown,
really?
Some years ago.
And you were in one of the most recent productions. You were in 12 Angry Men, and you did a great job in that, too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I played an old man who was waiting to die. That's exactly what the script identified him as, yes.
Yeah. You did a wonderful job in that. Not only you direct too, right? You don't just you've done the acting, but you also direct a lot of.
I've directed several. I directed, oh my goodness, The Diary of Anne Frank. That was the only dramatic play I've ever directed. Other than that, I've just done comedies.
Sure.
Barefoot in the Park.
What's
Father of the Bride?
What's more difficult? Is comedy or drama more
drama
difficult?
For me is much more difficult.
Really?
I can see the humor in anything, and but drama was a little tougher. Sure. And the Diary of Anne Frank was even tougher than that because it had humor in it. It just was being glossed over so often.
Sure.
And you had to learn to laugh with these people before you would be able to really be committed to them throughout their ordeal. And then when when the end of the show comes and you find out what happened to them, which you already knew when you started the show.
Sure.
Then you're more ingrained in on those people because you've laughed with them, you've cried with them.
Right. So we're gonna talk more with David about the stage company and some of the exciting things they got coming up. But let's talk a little bit about movies. You like all kind of movies, right?
I love all kinds of movies, comedies, dramas. My real favorite type of movie is historic nonfiction, particularly World War II.
And we've got a couple of those today for you. Yeah, all three of them, actually.
They're all three, yes.
Let's start off with the first one, and you've picked, this is like your all-time favorite film, right? Or it's close to it.
It is my all-time favorite.
Yeah. We're talking about the film Patton, which stars George C. Scott as Patton.
As Patton, Carl Malden as Omar Bradley, yes.
And let's talk a little bit about this film. This film is definitely a war film. What is it about this film that makes it the top spot for you?
Well, probably because I saw it with my dad. My dad was a big World War II enthusiast.
Sure.
He was a veteran of the Korean conflict, and he loved war pictures. I grew up watching TV shows like 12 O'Clock High, The Rat Patrol, Combat with Vic Morrow.
Yeah.
I grew up with those, and so I've always been kind of geared toward that. I guess one of the first World War movies I ever saw was 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, which was based on the Ted Lawson book.
Yeah. So what is it about Patton that makes him so special? Why wasn't this movie made about MacArthur or Eisenhower? What is it about Patton that makes him so unique?
Well, I mean, there were movies that were made about Eisenhower. For example, was it Countdown to D-Day? So, and there, of course, there was MacArthur. So there are movies made about them. But this one is different. This one delves deeply in his psyche. The man was an extremely religious man. He was Episcopalian, very religious man. Prayed on his knees and cussed like a stable boy. Actually, the movie toned down his language.
Did it really?
Oh, it really did.
Yeah.
It toned it down considerably. But now his contemporaries will say, or did say, that in everyday speech, just talking to him, he rarely used a cuss word. It was when he was addressing his troops that he really let it out.
He got a little deeper into the language.
He did.
George C. Scott, he portrays Patton in this film. He also won the Academy Award for his performance as well. What do you think about George C. Scott in this film?
George C. Scott was a better Patton than Patton was as far as portrayal in the movie. His voice was gruff. The real Patton's voice was squeaky and high-pitched and very grating and difficult to listen to.
Really?
Oh, yes. Yes, it was not a pleasant voice.
I had never heard actual vocal performance from the original Patton, so that's very, very surprising to know, I tell you. So Carl Malden is also in this film as well, and he does a great job too.
He does a great job as Omar Bradley. George C. Scott was not really pleased with his casting.
Why?
He just didn't think that he was quite right for the role. I mean, they had nothing against him personally.
Yeah.
He just didn't think he was right for the role. He looked absolutely nothing like Omar Bradley, but then again, George C. Scott looked nothing like the real Patton either.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't really crazy about the casting of Carl Malden as Omar Bradley. I thought he was wonderful.
Yeah.
I really did. He was the GI General. That's what Ernie Powell called him, the GI General.
This movie does a great job of showing Patton's strengths, but also some of the things that didn't put a nice light on him. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It delved into a lot of his weaknesses. The issue in Sicily with the slapping of the soldier, for example, and that didn't happen once. It happened twice.
Did it really?
At two different field hospitals.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But they kind of put it together as one episode, and he was not well received by that. The doctors and nurses that were in the room or in the tent, they were very angry. They reported his actions when he slapped them, and he nearly lost his command.
Yeah.
Over that, they were calling for him to be fired, and Ike Eisenhower, who was actually a close personal friend, was the only reason he wasn't sent home in disgrace.
It's an interesting scene in the movie to see that, because you could really see Patton's this was his life. This was his love, being in the military and having a command and showing his troops how to represent the country and the military in the correct way.
Oh, absolutely. His biggest desire from all of his life, his father was a member of the military. His grandfather was a member of the military. It went way back in generations. And his big dream his whole life was to command a large army in battle.
Yeah.
And he did it superbly. He was the best tactician that the American Army had.
I was getting ready to mention that. He was great with strategy, military strategy.
He was.
It's a great, interesting film. It's called Patton. It won Best Picture. Did it win Best Picture?
Yes, it did.
I think it did win Best Picture.
And the music. Oh my gosh, the music was iconic. What was this? Jerry Goldsmith was the composer for the music.
Yeah.
And it's well known. You can't listen to that without thinking of Patton.
Right.
If my dad was alive today, it would be his ringtone on his phone. It really would be.
I love that. Do you think the movie still holds up today? Do you think a younger generation can enjoy the movie Patton?
Oh, I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. It was, of course, it was filmed in Technicolor. The scenes were so well done. They had actual equipment. It was filmed primarily in Spain. the Spanish army doubled as American troops and German troops.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
It was, and of course, they're still, even to this day, that's why a lot of the World War II movies America makes is filmed over in either England or over in Europe because of the fact that they still have such a large number of our equipment over there.
That's amazing. One of the cool things, and I forgot to mention it, and it's right here, is the opening scene where we see Patton step onto stage. He's got the huge American flag behind him, and he is just being... He's being Patton.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was taken excerpts from several of his speeches that he gave to his troops. He was a major general at that point. And, oh my gosh, what I said before, they really toned down the language.
You had to.
His true language was much more profane.
It's a good movie, and I appreciate you introducing it to me, because the only part I had ever seen was the intro to the movie. I'd never seen the entire film before, so I appreciate you.
Well, initially that was supposed to be at the end of the movie.
Was it really?
That's what George C. Scott had wanted it to be at the end of the movie, and that's what he was promised it would be at the end of the movie. But they
switched it up on him.
They did a switch on him.
Movie's called Patton. You can find it on DVD. Coming up, we're going to another Best Picture film, The Sound of Music. It's next right here on the Screen Team.